Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing whether Aston Villa are actually in a title race this season. But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes a long way for me to build a small community on my channel. Okay, we've recently just hit 270 subscribers. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support on most recent videos and the likes and the comments on social media as well. It definitely has gone unnoticed. And yeah, let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Now, Aston Villa beat Manchester United 2-1 at the weekend, thanks to yours truly, Morgan Rogers, scoring a brace, an absolutely amazing, fantastic, clinical brace. Okay, fantastic goals in there. Some of the best goals of the whole season, probably his first goal in particular, right? Okay, but before that, as always, let's get into discussing the start of the game, because for me, even though the stats aren't very good, aren't very positive for Aston Villa's side, they dominated the first 45 minutes. They dominated the second as well, if you like, for me. They definitely did deserve the victory, even though their stats weren't perfect, if you like, in those sort of in the sense of, they only had like 11 shots compared to Manchester United's 15, I'm pretty sure. There was also had you know they only had 42% possession compared to Manchester United's 58% possession. So from that point of view, even though Man United dominated the ball, Aston Villa were way more clinical in this game. But that went to show in the first half as well, because they had one or two chances very early on with John McGinn. There was a nice little through ball into John McGinn's path on the right hand side. He shoots it across, tries to curl it across into that near post, if you like. But I think his name is Aidan Heaven, sort of just blotted it out and sort of just cleared it away, didn't he? So that was very good from the young centre back from Manchester United. And there was also a nice little cross into the box from a corner, I'm pretty sure. But then the ball obviously landed to Ian Madsen on that left hand side. He plays it straight across the box, okay. Then Morgan Rogers gets a nice little flick onto the ball, one of the slightest touches onto the ball, okay. But the ball couldn't roll into that far post. It just goes out for a goal kick for Manchester United, for the goalkeeper Le Mans. So from that point of view, Aston Villa already had two early chances where they could have gone and scored that goal, that first goal of the game at least, if you like. But however, the first goal actually came in the 45th minute thanks to Morgan Rogers. Now let's just talk about this. For me, this was probably one of the best goals of the season, of the absolute complete season. Okay, Morgan Rogers is an absolute baller, isn't he? I can't speak highly enough of this player. For me, he's one of the best players in the league this season. He's got to be top three players in the league this season, with the likes of Declan Rice, Erling Haaland, and probably Morgan Rogers, because of some of the skills he's doing, some of the dribbling ability that he's got, some of the goals that he's scoring, some of the assists that he's providing. He's absolutely amazing. He can play all across that front three. He can play right wing, he can play probably, as a second striker, and that left wing. For me, left wing is his best position, like we've seen in this game as well. So for me, let me just talk through this first goal of the game, okay? Obviously, the ball lands to John McGinn. He's in the halfway line, okay? He hoofs it straight to Morgan Rogers, up in the air. Nice little lovely touch to keep the ball in play, to keep the ball alive. And then, he sort of has a nice little take on with the right back, I want to say. And he pretty much gets straight past him. He runs into the box. He has so much time and space, and he curls it top bins, okay? Top bins straight past Le Mans, the Belgian goalkeeper. He couldn't do anything about it to stop it at all. Morgan Rogers is an absolute beast at the moment, isn't he? He's such a baller. And when Aston Villa need a goal, you just look to one man in your team, don't you? Morgan Rogers, the England international. I can't speak highly enough about this guy. For me, he's fantastic. You've seen it in his celebrations. You've seen the swagger he has on the ball. When he has the ball, nobody can get the ball off him, can they? The only way you can get the ball off him is if you foul him. Very similar to Jack Grealish in that sort of sense. For me, if you compare the two players just quickly, you got to say to yourself, has Morgan Rogers sort of excelled in that sort of time spell that Jack Grealish was at the club? When Jack Grealish was at the age of, like, what, I want to say 22, 23, however old Morgan Rogers is now, has Morgan Rogers sort of surpassed his Jack Grealish's career at that sort of age point? I'm not too sure. And you got to say to yourself, maybe he's playing at a higher level than Jack Grealish was when he was at Aston Villa. I don't know. All I can think to myself is, for Morgan Rogers now, what's the ceiling? Can he go on and get like 10 plus goals in a season? Can he go and get like 10, 15 goals and assists? I'm not too sure. Maybe he can. Can he become our next £100 million plus player? Potentially getting sold. Hopefully he doesn't, because I don't want to see him leave Aston Villa anytime soon. Just for, you know, when you think about Aston Villa in the title race, you need Morgan Rogers to be performing at this level week in, week out, don't you? You need him scoring goals every single week, and hopefully he can continue to do that, because he's absolutely amazing, isn't he, at the moment? Hopefully he can still see the likes of, Donnell Marlon, Ollie Watkins, Onana, Tillemans, Kamara, Matty Cash, all chipping with goals here and there. But hopefully Morgan Rogers can be the main man to potentially keep us in that, title race as long as possible. Because when you think to yourself, are Aston Villa in the title race? I want to say yes, but I don't want to get too optimistic. I don't want to get my hopes up. Even though they're only 3 points off Arsenal, who are in first, I don't want to get my hopes up in saying that Aston Villa are in a title race, because I feel like that adds too much pressure to the side, to Unai Emery, to continue to perform. And I feel like that's what we've seen in previous Unai Emery teams. When you put the pressure on him, he always seems to fall short a little bit in the likes of, being at Arsenal, being at PSG. When he's fighting for those title challenges, he sort of always does fall short a little bit. So I don't want to put the pressure on him. I prefer Unai Emery to be an underdog. I prefer Aston Villa to be an underdog in there to potentially, maybe even title challenge in the coming months, in February, in March, in April, in all these coming months. You know what I mean? So let's talk about the equaliser now for Manchester United. He's literally scored 3 minutes after, Morgan Rogers scored that first goal. Matty Cash was sort of having a bit of a mistake in there. You know what I mean? For me, he was sort of just dawdling on the ball. He should have hoofed it up the pitch, okay? But he sort of took a touch inside. Then it sort of led to, a nice little press from one of the Manchester United forwards. He passes it into Matheus Cunha. He's in the box now, and for me, Cunha, in that position, he's very clinical, isn't he? And he just slots it straight past Emi Martinez. So from that point of view, the former Wolverhampton Wanderers striker, he would be absolutely over the moon, be buzzing to score against one of his former Midlands rivals, if you like. So from that point of view, it's 1-1 going into half time. You've got to think to yourself, Unai Emery would be absolutely raging, considering the celebrations that he did at for Morgan Rogers' goal. At least, you did see him throwing off his jacket. He was going absolutely berserk. But then, in the 57th minute, okay, Morgan Rogers once again comes up with the goods and scores the second goal of the game, scores the winner as well, didn't he? Morgan Rogers, absolutely amazing. I can't believe it, scoring a brace in this game. Don't get me wrong, the ball, I want to say it's a nice little press from one of the midfielders for Aston Villa. Or I think it might have been Yuri Tillemans or Ian Madsen or someone like that. Either way, nice little press from one of the players, and he slots it straight into Morgan Rogers' path. Okay, nice little touch, one or two touches, and then he just bangs it straight past Le Mans, didn't he? So again, Morgan Rogers absolutely brilliant in this game. So nice little technique to sort of curl it into the far post, if you like. And for me, Le Mans again couldn't do anything about it. I can't believe the result in this game. I can't believe Aston Villa have gone and beat Manchester United at home. For me, when Aston Villa traditionally played Manchester United, have always seemed to struggle. In recent seasons, they've done all right. Again, sometimes even though they've done all right, Manchester United have always seemed to beat them in recent years, in the years gone past. So it's good to see Aston Villa finally get another win against Manchester United. So from that point of view, absolutely fantastic scenes. But yeah, it's just a short little episode describing whether or not Aston Villa are in the title race. For me, I want to say they are, but I don't want to say they are either, because I don't want to add the pressure. I don't want to pile the pressure on to Aston Villa and Unai Emery. So hopefully we can continue being underdogs for as long as we can. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below whether or not Aston Villa are actually in a title race or not. How would you feel about Morgan Rogers? Is he one of the best players in the Premier League this season? Is he top 3, top 5 players of the season so far? Does he make it into your team in this season? What does he have to do to potentially be the top attacking player in the Premier League? Is he the mainstay player in that England international side as well for Thomas Tuchel. How do you feel about Aston Villa being in that title race? How do you feel about Manchester United losing in this game? Where do you feel like Manchester United will finish at the end of the season? What went wrong for Man United in this game as well? Even though they had all the possession, even though they had all of the shots, why couldn't they get back into the game? Why couldn't they go on and win the game as well? But yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. It goes a long way for me to build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 270 subscribers, and I just want to say a massive thank you for all the recent support. We've gone on and just hit 500 viewers in our last episode, okay, in the Leeds United episodes, and I can't believe it. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support, all the likes and the comments, and yeah, I really do hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I really do hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas, Merry Christmas. I hope you get all the presents you want, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.